back. This is the Lovecraftian horror stream where I play a whole lot of video games in order to do research for my thesis. So a little bit of housekeeping first and foremost. So this video will be streaming to both Facebook and to Twitch, but if you want to talk to me, do it over on Twitch, because I will not see whatever goes on Facebook. If you were wondering about the music, it is Nothing to Forgive by Falcon Shield. Play with permission. Go check them out. And as always, I cannot promise if this will be a short stream or a long stream, as I do spontaneously pass out sometimes. Do see the disclaimer. However, I can say that I did have an episode earlier today, so it's unlikely that I will have another one, which is good, because today we are going to be doing some Darkest Dungeon. And the reason we are going to be doing some Darkest Dungeon is for two reasons. First, so last time I was doing some Darkest Dungeon, I spent a whole lot of money in one hit, and I basically stumped myself. I was now barely able to afford going back into the dungeon, like the food, the torches, the whatever, and I was just at a standstill. I was like, okay, this is not a good way to be, and I ended up going, cool, start a new game. And let's bring it up here now. Hang on. Why is it not? Ah, there we go. Is that better? There we go. Excellent. So we now have Lovecraft Thesis 3.0, and I have installed a couple of mods just to make life a little bit easier. The mods, basically all they do is increase the rewards at the end of a quest. So that's it. Just something light, something simple, nothing to really mess with the gameplay, just to make it a little bit faster so that I can actually finish this game within a reasonable time and start moving on to other games. On that note, there is one other piece of housekeeping that I should cover off before we really get going, which is there is the survey at the bottom, like in the description of this particular video. If you're watching this, please jump on, do the survey. I need to finalize that so that I can be certain that this survey is what I need going forwards. I need a few people to do multiple games. I've got quite a few people who've done the survey, which is great, but I don't seem to have anybody who's done the survey twice. So I've got a few people who've done a single thing for Darkest Dungeon, or who've done something for Cultist Simulator, or who have done something for Conan Exiles, but I don't have somebody who's come back and done a second one or a third one. So I don't have anybody who has done both Darkest Dungeon and Cultist Simulator, or both Conan Exiles or Darkest Dungeon, or any combination thereof. And that's the big thing. I don't care if you only do one or two games, if you only give me your review and your take on whether or not one or two games are Lovecraftian. What matters is that you can do more than one game, and that I don't know yet. So if you are interested in helping me, please jump onto my channel, jump onto YouTube perhaps, just type in The Terrible Old Man Lovecraftian Horror Pyramid. The first result should be my video where I play The Terrible Old Man, which is only a 30-minute game. Well, it's less than that, it just took me 30 minutes. But the point is, you can watch that game all the way through and then review it with a complete understanding of what that game has to it. And if you're able to do that game and any other one, and you use the same name both times, I can see if I'm getting those results. Now, if you have any difficulties at all, please drop me a line, because that'll tell me what I need to fix, or if I have to fix anything to begin with. Now, that said, coming back to here, So, as I was saying, I lost all of my money, and I had to start again. So I played until I got back to approximately where I was last time, which was just after getting these districts. And this time I'm doing a lot better. It took me a while, but I got a couple of teams that would work out well. I still haven't worked out my second team in order to do like my bleed team for dealing with things that aren't the ruins. But I'm doing much better. As you can see, I've actually managed to get a couple of guys up to 3, which is excellent. And yeah, I'm basically ready to roll. So let's do this one. So as you can see, the mod that I installed, it does increase the quest rewards. So it's not a huge, overwhelming amount, but it does make things faster, and it's just the quest rewards. So, what you see here, this is pretty much the only thing that has changed. So you'll see that, not even that big of a deal sometimes. Anyway, oh, right. You! Awesome. Now, they are not complaining about this being too hard for them, so that is looking good. Let's do that. Now, something I've learned, and I don't really like it, but I've learned to always bring a bit of extra food and a couple extra torches. It gets expensive really fast. As you can see, that has cost me about 3,000 gold outright. Now, I don't know what these are particularly good for. So, I think I had a character who got the Crimson Curse or something like that. I ended up dismissing them because I couldn't figure out how to actually deal with it. But I assume that this has something to do with it because it keeps cropping up as something on quests. Now, should I? Yeah, I should. This is a boss fight, so we're going to bring a little bit extra this time. That should do. Hopefully.
Mastery over life and death was chief among my early pursuits. I began in humility, but my ambition was limitless. Who could have divined the prophetic import of something as unremarkable as a twitch in the leg of a dead rat? A devil walks these halls. Only the mad or the desperate go in search of him.
Alright, well, that was an interesting bit of descriptor. Okay, so the objective is kill the Necromancer Apprentice. So not the Necromancer, just the Apprentice. Well, I'm going to make the assumption that he's probably not down here. It would be very annoying if he ended up being back down here and I went through the whole rest of the dungeon. But let's go this way then. So yeah, look, sometimes I am quite happy to be like, oh, I haven't taken a lot of stress. It's just like, yeah, oh, I haven't taken a lot of stress. This is great. Let's explore the rest of the dungeon. I absolutely have done that before, but the objective is to get in and get out. The only reason to stick around longer is...
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted.
Yeah, the only reason to stick around longer is if you believe you can definitely survive longer. And it is not worth doing that if your stress is, say, 70 or higher. So, he actually... I should have checked. I think I grabbed the wrong group to come in here. I think I was going to go with the... I was going to go with the other group, I think. Oh well. Let's have a look. So... Let's do a wackadoodle. And a stunnadoodle. And to stun me hearties. And you can be back.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
Oh no! He did a wackadoodle on me. Please don't wave your staff at me. It's scary. So they already attacked. So let's do that. Oh, he dead.
Destroy them all.
Let's do that. And then he can zap them both. And not quite finish the job. Darn you! Stun him, because he does the stress damage, and I don't like that.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Excellent. Well, he can't do much. I think he's gonna die from the next bit of blight anyway.
Great
Yep.
is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Perfect. Yes, let's loot. Oh no, it's trapped. Fortunately, I have the band-aid. So, full disclosure, I'd love to make a game like this. A while ago, I was actually working on essentially a mobile phone game that was similar to this, although that was like it wasn't based on this, just conceptually there was some similarities. But unfortunately, that had to be dropped because people had lives and jobs, and it wasn't exactly a major paycheck item. Because, you know, it was basically just not a fan thing, not a hobby thing. It was just myself and some classmates who were kind of playing around with the idea. But so, you know, without money behind to make it a salary, people needed day jobs, and day jobs tend to take over your time. So, you know, all of that. But, yeah, like, I do like games like this. They are really nice, even if this one is, in my opinion, a little bit too arbitrary. But once you've got a hangout of it, once you understand how the things relate, how they bounce off each other, it works a lot better. Spotting those traps exists also works a lot better. There's got to be a way to deal with that lock mechanism. Is it? Oh, is that how I use like the keys to unlock strong boxes and doors? Do I have to manually choose to do that? I don't think I've ever actually used a key. I bought them because I thought that they might automatically get used, but I don't think I've ever actually used them. Yeah, when I said that, you know, oh hey, I've started to understand and get this game now, I've only started to understand and get part of this game. There are a lot of parts that I still don't have a handle over yet. Let's zap him.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
good dodge. Oh, wow. That was something.
Executed with impunity.
That was also something.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
That was really nice. Anyway.
If only treasure
yay.
could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Okay. This should tell me where the boss is, I hope. No? Just tells you that the next few rooms? I thought it should give me the whole lot. Oh well. Torch, torch, torch. Mine. Okay, let's try using the key on this one. Kill him. Oh, I should have used the pick because it was close range. No matter. Yeah, let's poison them. Oh. The best kill in this game is where you kill them before they can do damage. It's the best healing, it's the best everything. So, overwhelming force is really quite nice. Another thing that I find quite nice, it doesn't always work, is if you set it up right, you can kind of farm your enemy for heals. So, you know, I've got these guys stunned. If I kill him off, I can get off a heal or two without any threat. However, if I try and do that for, say, I think 2 or 3 goes, something like that, the bodies disappear and new monsters appear. So there is an absolute limit. The game designers clearly knew that that was a potential strategy, and they took steps to make sure that the game was still difficult. We are going to go. Yeah, we're going to get you to move faster. No, I should have gotten her to move faster. Oh, wait, no, still good. Alright, everybody heal. And now, smack. Don't have enough room. I don't care about these. So these, if you're playing the game yourself, these are almost a waste of space. So you can only have 5 of them in a stack, which means that it's got a value of 1250. Maximum potential value. Gold, if you have a stack of gold, goes up to 1750. So, yeah, these are definitely a waste of space if you're doing any real dungeon crawling. I just don't really bother, honestly. Now, let's... Key unlocks a hidden compartment. Okay, so that is how the keys work. Excellent. Well, I don't think I need that, so we're going to ignore it.
The match is struck.
And we're going to go for a walk. Why? You know, in hindsight, why did I turn the torches on? I know that there's no fight until over there. Clearly there's some way to... Yep, cool. Clearly there's some way to increase your chances or increase your luck, like how I just used the key. But I don't know. I don't know how that works precisely. The Necromancer ends up being back there. Ah, I saw that. I saw that a second before I stepped on it.
Possessed by evil intent.
What an unsettling passage. They weren't surprised. That's a shame. So I really want to hold on to at least 4 of them before the boss. Stabby, stabby. Sit down, you cross between Freddy Krueger and, Aw, man, I've referenced it so many times for you guys. That hell box, the Hellraiser? Hellraiser. Darn it. Ruined a perfectly good joke by forgetting half the joke. Who should we stab? We should stab you.
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
I am more worried about stress than I am about damage right now. I've got a fairly solid heal bot. Speed you up. Oh, that was a blowing. I heard that. Have I still got... Yes! Okay. Fixing that. I apologize for that blowing, everybody. I hope that hasn't been going off this entire time. Although, I just noticed that the stream is... actually, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I thought it might have been cutting off some of the image, but it is not, so that is good. Right, so I don't actually think I said it earlier. What we are essentially doing today is, because we are fighting the Necromancer, there is a chance that there will be some story, some narrative, and that'll give us a better grounds for comprehending or discussing how Lovecraftian this game is or isn't. And that, of course, is the point of playing this game. It's not so much to win the game, although obviously that is a part of playing the game. It is much more about discussing and discovering, is this game Lovecraftian? Now, I formed my own opinions on whether or not it's Lovecraftian. Those of you who've been following have seen where I currently have it on the Lovecraftian horror pyramid. But I am, of course, interested to hear what your perspective is, and most importantly, I haven't played deep enough into this game to know if there is something more or if there isn't. My understanding at this point in time is actually this might be essentially as Lovecraftian as it gets. I know in hindsight that I did in fact visit the Cove, which the Cove is the expansion that gives more Lovecraftian elements, and I didn't really see that much in the way of Lovecraftian that was there. There was a little bit that I can see, yep, no, I can see how and why people are saying this, but I wasn't really seeing that much. So, my feeling at the moment is that there might not actually be that much Lovecraftian content. But I, again, haven't seen any more of the story. Mostly what I've seen is the cinematic, and I'm hoping that with this boss fight, as you saw, we got a little bit of narrative at the start of entering this particular dungeon. I am hoping... Is there a boss down there? Yes, there is! Excellent. Alright, so we are going to rest up, because I don't know what... I've got way too much gear, I guess.
Furtive and vulnerable.
There we go. Look at that. Heals 10 stress. We are definitely using that one. He needs some stress heals. She needs some stress heals. Do we have Yes, all companions minus 15 stress and reduces overall stress going forwards. That is what we want. That affects everybody. That affects one companion. One companion. I think we're going to go with that one, but... Alright, we are going to pray, get all companions, yeah. Reduce that stress. No stress for anyone. I can feel my heart at pump strong. I've seen nothing I am not prepared for. No sleep for us without victory, so on and so forth. Excellent. And just to up the stakes a bit, let's do that. Oh, I didn't rearrange the order. I mean, I guess these guys are going to be pretty easy to kill. Am I going to kill them before they get to attack me? I guess so. Oh, wait, no. He got a stun, though. Poor guy. And bop. There we go. Some money.
Success so clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light? The light, the promise of safety.
Alright.
Towering
Apprentice Necromancer. It's an interesting face. It'll make for an interesting cosplay, though. I wonder if anybody's actually done that as a cosplay. Maybe I should do that as a cosplay. That would be an interesting first-time cosplay to do. Smack. Oh. Oh, now he's not going to be... Oh, wait, no. He's pushing back. That is good. That is very good. So, let's... You know what? Let's buff him. I want his speed up so I can definitely always be in front. Stun. Stun. Let us buff him. So, one of the fights I did a while ago, it wasn't even a boss fight, it was just like some sort of mini-boss crocodile-looking thing, and it wiped the floor with me. I had gone through the entire rest of the dungeon, no issue whatsoever, and then this one beastie rocks up and just destroys me. I ended up running away. Like, I had some spoils, not much, like, similar to what I've got now. So, you know, it was... I still made it, technically made a profit, but everybody came back. They had all... Like, pretty much everybody was one blow away from death. One person had actually died. It was just like, yeah, nope. So you can't buff anybody else anymore. Okay, well that is, problematic, I guess. Do that. Stuns. I'm not going to stun him this time, because I kind of want him to move back another spot, so I can... No, I really don't, actually. This is better. Ah, see? There we go. Owie owie. Fortunately, she can heal herself. And crit heal. Look at that. Alright, I reckon... How much damage would that be? 5 points for 3 rounds. That's an extra 15 points of damage. Yeah, that's actually pretty solid. Let's do the bot. Do the extra bot. And that. That is really good, actually. Alright, stun him. How dare you resist? 75% stun resistance. That is uncomfortable. Let's stack them both. Sweet. It's not going to be enough to kill him, though. Now it will be. He can't actually do much of anything, so we're just going to have them switch positions. So long as he doesn't have a heal. Go, Crusader. Smack. Okay.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Is that it? Is there... Hope maybe there's a cinematic or something afterwards? No, there are more cinematics in this game, so... I guess... First evil to fall? Yeah, okay, that's my stuff. Beast Hater resolution in town will never drink. Well, isn't that nice? I don't see how that's a negative.
A fresh irritant, the sun. A sanguine memory to me.
Okay. I don't know. I was expecting maybe there's something after I defeat the Necromancer or the Sonorous Prophet or something. I don't know. Like there's quite a few things here. I do not know when the next cinematic is or where that will come from. I am very sorry. I figured that there might have been a little bit of lore, that there might have been a bit of story, a bit of cinematic, something of the sort, but it seems like there is not. So, let's take a moment, actually. So while we've got that playing in the background, let's have a look at this. So, this is the Lovecraftian Horror Pyramid as it currently stands. As I have said before, the more I play games, the more I get little refinements of it and think, oh, that's a way to look at this, that is this is a use of that particular trope, so on and so forth. So that sort of thing does occasionally happen as I get more immersed and spot more things. But the other thing is that I am still waiting on my supervisors to give me some feedback on what I've designed. So this may have a couple of changes happen to it over the coming weeks. It may not. My supervisors may turn around and say, that is fantastic, we love it, we think that this is perfect. I doubt it. I'm very confident in it, but anybody who ever expected their supervisors not to bring back criticism of the thing they think they've done well clearly has not done more than one thesis before. Assuming a bunch of things. Now, just to go over it a little bit for your benefit, I'll assume that you haven't watched any of my previous videos where I discuss it. So, this is where I mess around with and try and work out where various games go on the pyramid. I've got 10 points for the aesthetic side of things, which includes visual, style, structure, so on and so forth. 9 points for the horror, and just the general type of horror, and so on and so forth. And of course, I've got a section for both. Now, if a game has both Lovecraftian aesthetic and Lovecraftian horror, it goes in here, which goes up to 20 points. If it only has aesthetic, it goes on this side. If it only has horror, it goes on this side. Now, some games will have some amount of each. A lot of games, I imagine, will have some amount of each, even if they do not consider themselves to be Lovecraftian, because what defines Lovecraftian horror is not exclusive, but inclusive. There are a lot of different points that make Lovecraftian horror what it is, and there's a lot of games that touch on a few of those different things. And games that touch on a few of those different things you expect to see down here, which is where we have Darkest Dungeon. At the moment, while I can see that there are some elements which people will consider, yeah, okay, I see where you're getting the Lovecraftian element from, it overall ranks really quite low. There are not very many independent points for Lovecraftian horror in here. As I said, though, in a previous video where I explained all of this in, admittedly, about the same amount of detail I'm giving you now, one of the things that I am keeping in mind is that this is not weighted. If a game has got Cthulhu in it, but that is the only Lovecraftian thing there is, that Cthulhu could be such a huge part of the game, and it could be all about that. But because it's only playing on one or two Lovecraftian core elements of what defines Lovecraftian horror, it could still end up being down here, especially if the game is not a horror, but is only playing on some of the Lovecraftian aesthetic. But people who play the game may think it's one of the most Lovecraftian games that has ever been made, and they might have good reason for believing that or upholding that. And this is where I want to emphasize that I am not weighting these things. What I am looking at is going, here are 19 and a little bit, but 19 points of what defines Lovecraftian horror. Are all of these things represented even to a small extent? Which is why The Terrible Old Man doesn't actually make it into true Lovecraftian horror. So I'm not going to go into this one too much. The Terrible Old Man is actually a Lovecraftian story, but it comes from a time before Lovecraft himself believed that he had mastered his own style. It comes from a time before essayists and analysts like Joshi and a few others, what they believe is Lovecraft's style. So it is a Lovecraftian work. You'd argue that if it's written by Lovecraft, it's Lovecraftian horror, but it still comes from a time where he hasn't mastered it. So there's a bunch of elements that Lovecraft writes into his stories that just aren't present, that just aren't in this particular story. It's also a very, very short story. Like, it is super short. So there is a lot that it just doesn't have the opportunity to go into or even do because it's shorter than, it's under 2,000 words. I'm not entirely sure how long it is actually, but it is quite short. So that ends up being actually, like, in a middling ground area. It ends up being quite low, despite the fact that this is a game that is based on and almost a one-to-one relationship with the original book, with the original story. So this is what I mean when I say it's not weighted. You could play that game, and it's only a 20-25 minute game, and I have a YouTube video on it. You can absolutely go watch it and see the entirety of the game. You might think that this is very, very Lovecraftian for any number of reasons, but because it only has 10 out of a possible 19 points of what defines Lovecraftian horror, it doesn't quite make the overall cut. Well, at least it doesn't quite make it to the top bracket, but it does make it pretty high, as you can see based on where everything is at the moment. So this is the Lovecraftian pyramid. This is where it's at the moment. And Darkest Dungeon, it's not quite that I wanted it to be higher. It's not quite that. It's just that I I haven't seen more Lovecraftian stuff in here. I've seen a lot of Gothic. I've seen quite a few things, but I just haven't seen that. And was that another beep? Did I? I left a thing on. Sorry about that. I hope, once again, I hope that wasn't beeping this whole time. Regardless, yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, that was today's stream. I may do some more streaming in a bit, but that was my promise, is that once I get to a boss fight, I will fight that boss, I will stream that boss, and the rest of the grind, everything leading up to it, I was just kind of going to do that in my own time, because the grind doesn't seem to have much lore at all, at least nothing Lovecraftian. I am happy to be proven wrong if somebody believes that the grind is worth watching in case there is something does come up. Please do let me know. But for the time being, that will be all for today, so thank you very much, and I may or may not be back on later. Have a lovely whatever time it is for you. Farewell.